Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Ni no Kuni. Let's continue. So I had to kind of remind myself that there is a bounty quest at the moment to go to the foot of Old Smoky. Even though it's not being really shown. So somewhere around here there is one more bounty quest to do, and then we'll go south and we'll move the story forward. We won't even really bother to turn in the bounty quest, let's just get it done. We've already pretty much exhausted this area, and it does give the feeling that we're gonna come back to areas and there'll just be like a nighttime or nightmare scenario where the game is going to increase the levels of the familiars in an area after that point. Like, the problem here with this bounty quest is that this could be considered the foot of Old Smoky, or it could be actually the beginning of the dungeon of Old Smoky that we actually need to go to. And unless the minimap decides to start showing us a blinking dot, we won't really know where that is or where we're supposed to go. We have crossed a threshold where they're back to attacking me instead of just running away in complete total fear. And these fights are ridiculously easy, but slow. And you'd like to see in a you would like to see when you hit a point in any kind of RPG to be able to turn off those kinds of scenes. Yeah, those kinds of recap scenes and at the end of each fight. I would say that
Come on, you guys.
Fallout 3 really, for all its flaws and for being just a really old game in its own, Fallout 3 really did do a lot to convert what would have been more of a Eastern Japanese RPG style of gameplay into a Western action first-person shooter experience by only leveling up every now and then and doing it after all the enemies are dead and have left the entire area.
Here we go.
And in the experience of Fallout 3, when you leveled up, it was a big deal because you're not in Fallout 3 you really didn't have familiars or Pokemon or anything like that, so there was just your main character to consider when leveling up, and every time you did level up it was giving you a new skill that they had uniquely created, even if in reality most of the skills really kind of suck. Is this the guy? Yep. Like really at least half of all the skills in Fallout 3 that you get as far as perks were pretty awful. This guy's a heavy hitter. Apparently my guy has died. Let's go ahead and try roly-poly. Roly-poly didn't do anything. Let's try smash hit. Let's try cut loose. Cut loose certainly has a much better animation, being like one of the first tricks compared to up. Wow, I'm about to die. Let's just switch over here and try a spell. Now he's chasing after me. Probably should just cast Healing Touch on myself. We'll try Frostbite and see if that particularly affects him. Ooh, wow. That nearly killed me. So that definitely could have gone badly. Wouldn't have really hurt me too much. I could have continued and just lost some money, I suppose. Let's investigate these. Let's see. Puppet string does nothing. Magic lamp we haven't tried. Form familiar doesn't do anything. Rejuvenate doesn't do anything. Spirit medium doesn't do anything. Magic lamp we can't use here. So we don't have that available for us. My health is pretty low. I guess it doesn't really matter. So had I come into that area before, it wouldn't have done anything for me anyways. So we just have to leave and make sure we refill our magic and HP on the way out. And ideally don't die. Let's see. Alright, left bump. We'll go ahead and let Esther capture the other one. But you can definitely see a much more traditional assumption being made that in the results, the player is always going to care about the XP being added and the amount of gold being added. You could easily eliminate this screen. It wouldn't give you so much detail, certainly, but all you would really need is like a plus gold, plus XP thing to pop up over their head at the end, or just an assumption. I don't know if the game even really needs to tell you that after each fight you get plus gold, plus XP. Sometimes you get items that might be a little bit useful. Then when you capture something, it asks you to name it, and then it asks you if you're certain, which that too could easily be toggled off. And that's just by default what you're going to see every single time you fight. Even if you didn't get any gold, even if you didn't get any XP. Yeah. Of course I could grind here and chase after these guys, but I'm more than happy for them to run away. I don't feel like I even leveled up, and yet the game has decided that none of these guys want anything to do with me, so I either was right on the cusp of being overpowered for these enemies, or it is fairly arbitrary as to whether something wants to attack you or not. it would kind of make more sense if there were particularly stronger enemies in all the overworld sections, and every now and then something would just choose to attack you, even if the vast majority of creatures don't want to attack you. There's basically nothing else more we can do. Now we're moving to the third city of what very well may be only 5 cities at most. To move the story along. Our ability to jump, totally useless, but I am starting to suspect I would have had to have claimed the ability to jump anyways. I could probably, having defeated that fairly tough character, I'll probably run into some new characters now that we're entering a new region, but this might be just a combination of characters we've kind of already seen. Well, we haven't seen a wombat, so there is probably an argument to continue trying to fight, grind, and do everything. But you also see the thumbs up, nice job animation, which in a lot of ways that gives the feeling that there very possibly were just 2 different people that made 2 different wrap-ups to the fighting mechanic, and there was no single leader to say we've got to merge these things together. This is interesting, and this is a thing that happens in the Pokemon games too, is you have Monolith here that looks very much not like a animal at all, and it's starting to look like just a weird physical thing. Since effectively, even though they're not saying it in the Western translation, these familiars are actually Oni, it would make sense that a lot of them would be made up of non-organic things. Umbrellas, for instance, would be a very common one. But so far they've stuck with mostly animals. I suppose there is an argument that could be made that things like Ditto or characters like Ditto and some of the other Pokemon that really look very much like a non-organic entity in the first place shouldn't have existed. That being said, Pokemon also runs into the problem of either having derivative Pokemon that look like previous Pokemon, or having not that much variety as far as animals. Anyways, there could be considerably more bug and insect type Pokemon if you were going to. Where's the bridge spell? If you were going to echo the amount of insects that existed in the real world, there could be considerably more insect Pokemon. If you were going to echo the amount of aquatic life / fish in the real world, there would have been way more fish Pokemon. This is weird that you have a cat here that is wearing clothing and equipped. But I guess Mighty is also equipped. Every time I switch to Esther, She's gonna say something like, I give it my all. Oliver is gonna yell out, Esther. If I wasn't playing this on easy, I could almost certainly assume that I would get annoyed with some of the sound effects. Although in all fairness, it's pretty easy to get annoyed for me to get annoyed as far as sound effects in games anyways if they become very repetitive, and that's why I tend to like to turn the audio somewhat down so I don't have to pay as much attention to it. And certainly being a video game critic and talking gives you a great excuse to not sit in silence listening to a game's audio repeating itself. But that's not particularly even unique to a video game YouTuber or streamer, because I think at least half, if not the majority of players, when they tend to get to a grindy experience, do seem to put on something like a podcast or a different background noise program, whether it's a TV in the background or a podcast or a YouTube or whatever. Let's try Cut Loose. Yeah, it really is very bait and switchy. The fact that the fact that the only trick that has a cut scene animation is Cut Loose, and that's the very first one we ran into. Right. Spell. Let's go ahead and... Alright, my guy is about to die. Heal myself up some more. Fireball didn't really work. Send our guy back out. Now it may just be in these fights that they're getting really difficult, but it certainly points to a factor that fights can potentially get really difficult here. So we may set ourselves up for failure if we take on a bunch more bounty quests in this city that has me go up higher. There's a whole cave there. You can see it in the background. I have no idea if you'll actually be able to get into the cave though. And this is part of the problem that I always have with JRPGs or just RPGs in general, is that they're designed in such a way that even if you are playing on an easy mode, you still are not really capable of becoming overpowered and breezing through it. I'd really love to just be able to spend 2 extra hours in the first area of an RPG, become 4 or 5 levels overpowered for that area, and then moving forward throughout the rest of the game always have a fairly easy fight. Which I suppose is an admission that what I'm looking for in an RPG game is not the actual fighting element. I am looking more for the general narrative and the general experience of any kind of conversations and challenges. That guy's doing some really creepy nightmare attack on me, but it didn't save him. We never really did get the whole glowing shield explanation as to what the deal with that was. You can barely even see the city. It's green on green, which artistically that's a mistake. This might be a much smaller city, and we may find that this is a city that's under siege or something, and we're going to have to do something else. Peddler says stop thief, so we get one word of voice acting of Jeepers. Also, I'm noticing so far only humans in this city again. Huh? A thief where? That man, he ran off with a huge pot. Come back here, you must pay. Someone has to stop him. It's daylight robbery. You're not going to let him get away with it, are you, Ollie boy? No way, we need to go after him. That's the spirit. Proper brave, you Harmon. No wonder you passed the trials. Here's the problem with this. Oliver, as is the case in most RPG games, has been sticking his hands in pots inside of the cities, stealing or taking gold from inside of it, which is probably stealing. He's been opening chests inside of people's businesses and taking whatever was inside of them. We are effectively beating up and stealing the items on the familiars in the overworld. You have to really be careful if you're going to give a moralistic story or narrative in a game like this. And yes, I know this game seems at times like it's trying to be more of a kid-friendly game, but it just doesn't really make sense when you're in this kind of adventure reality where the winner takes the spoils. Like what Oliver does consistently is way worse than just stealing, because he is assaulting familiars and robbing them. And then they usually bend over backwards in games like this to say he isn't actually killing them, they're just knocking them out, but that's not really better. I would also say there's kind of an overemphasis on teaching kids that stealing is bad. It is certainly a lesson kids will learn almost no matter what. It is a lesson easy to spout because nobody's going to, for the most part, argue that stealing is good. But yeah, I think if you took half of the times people told kids stealing is bad and told them to brush their teeth every morning and night, you would do more for society in the long run. Like unnecessary cavities and dental work cost society more than the level of petty shoplifting or theft that would happen by kids. There is definitely a big difference between, say, a 22-year-old doing an armed bank robbery and a kid taking a piece of gum off a shelf in the store. Moving on. Yeah, it's also not really Oliver's business. I suppose this may be hinting to the idea that this is the journey of Oliver becoming the king of this world. That he would stop a thief just to prove that he's a righteous leader. I knew you'd say that, Oliver. Let's chase down that criminal. Alright, come on. Of course, on the core of this, all they really want to do is they want to... I assume that girl was just kind of random. It's interesting because if Oliver, I was assuming, is about 10 years old, that girl in the tube top and shorts was probably like a 5-year-old. Which, yeah, we got a lot of shirtless boys and tube top girls and shirtless men in this society, which, well, that makes sense, certainly, if you're going to have a island society or a coastal society. Let's drop off some familiars while we're at it. I wonder if, honestly, I could have just had familiars that we may have to capture some familiars at some point to show off to people. I wouldn't be surprised if I could have kept them in the familiar retreat and then brought them back out for that kind of quest. I don't really have a reason to go into this area quite yet. We don't really have a reason to talk to characters. I imagine we will see the same kind of skins for characters over and over again. We may not have any pots where we can find anything. Here you have an older lady who is more covered up. And then over there we can see an older man who is not covered up. Alright, let's talk to this lady and collect the piece of heart. What should I prepare for tonight? I wonder. Are you cooking dinner? Indeed I am. There's an old lady who lives alone near here. You see, I assist her with domestic tasks and so on. So you're a maid, huh? Oh, nothing like that. It's merely something I choose to do. The old lady, she cared for me when I was a child. I'm merely repaying the very many favors she performed for me. There ain't a lot of people who do that kind of thing without asking for a single guilder in return, you know? This one's got more kindness in her little finger than most folks have got in the whole body. Oh, excuse me, miss, I was wondering if you'd able to help us with something. You require my assistance? That's right. We were hoping we might be able to share a little bit of your kindness with us. There's somebody who needs it, you see. If it'll help somebody who needs it, how could I possibly refuse? Thank you very much. Go ahead and take heart. The thought that I might help someone gives me the greatest satisfaction. Sorry, just kind of pause there. It does seem like there is a bit of a penchant here for showing like cleavage and belly buttons and legs that you would see in definitely a more adult Japanese game. This is something where if this game was going to be better localized for the West, you might not have so many beautiful looking anime girls, anime women running around. Yes, this is it. This is the future. Gee, ma'am, you sure do seem happy, no doubt. I have successfully visualized a swimsuit more elegant than anything that has come before it. For the designer, no joy is comparable. I need only acquire the materials and my vision shall be realized. Perhaps you can help. Us, really? Yes. Would you do something for me, perhaps, in the name of the ancients and all that that is elegant? My new swimsuit design requires a certain material that is rare, but by no means unobtainable. I wonder if you could fetch it for me, perhaps. Alright. Well, thank you. It is the rainbow leaves that I require. They are carried by florets. 3 should suffice, I think. What's a floret? Keep up, Ollie boy. They're creatures that roam the shimmering sands, ain't they? You must have seen a couple. The thing is with rainbow leaves, though, Ah, this fairy knows his fashion, I think. There's indeed an additional complication. The rainbow leaves that floats carry must be cooled down before you pick them up. They will otherwise wilt before your very eyes. This makes it difficult, I realize, but the designer's lot has never been easy. But how are we meant to cool them down if the floats are holding them? Ah, what's that icy spell you've got again? Frostbite? Is it? Try knocking the floor out with that. That should keep the leaves nice and cool, I reckon. That sounds like a plan, Mr. Drippy. Let's give it a go. There is definitely a different way this coastal city could have been. This could have been a pirate-themed city with people with big puffy shirts. And I guess maybe this is the anime version of a pirate where they're still showing a ton of skin. And I am overemphasizing the importance of this because I think there are parents that would overemphasize this, particularly in the West. I don't think Japanese parents would care too much, but this would stick in the craw, for lack of a better term, of some of the Western parents. In fact, just yesterday, I saw a post online about people complaining about the dress code that some school was enforcing for what they call a splash day, where they were going to splash around in sprinklers or water, shoot water guns or something. And basically, the boys were being allowed to be topless with a swimsuit bottom, and the girls were being required to wear completely full clothing over a swimsuit at best. So the stories are going to be a little bit different here. So we'll take these bounty hunts without even really reading them. But I can see that some of these 5-star ones might prove to be a nightmare. Can we claim bounties on things we've already done? Yes. So this does mean we don't actually have to return to the area we were before. And that one was the one that gave us the fire seal. Right. We would need to complete another cart to get this, and we don't really have any other options. And so this is the errand board, which is weird. It's weird that you would bother to have somebody reanimate this and draw a whole new version of that when you could have easily just had one of the buildings look exactly like all the other buildings. And it does seem like there's just no where's the shop? Is it under there? Well, the map says there's a shop here, but there isn't a shop there. That seems odd. Is it possibly higher up? Vertical floor design. It's not particularly great. Alright. Doesn't seem like there's too much we can do. We were supposed to just be chasing after the guy, and clearly there was really no time limit on that, because if there was, I would have failed by now. see. This guy. Let's see if we can spring lock on this one. Don't have enough magic points. Probably it's not worth it to worry too much about that. Just drink one of those. We're gonna fairly quickly hit a point where we will just sell things like coffee, and we'll have much better, much bigger rewards. What wonderful weather! A sign from the ancients that I am due a bountiful haul, perhaps. So you're a fisherman, huh? I am most certainly, and I am just about to head out to sea. Ain't you worried about all the monsters that have popped up around here then? Monsters, huh? No fisherman worthy of their name would give such a trifling concerns a moment's thought. You're not scared of monsters? Of course not. Why, I've already survived one monster attack. I drove the creature away, and if necessary I shall do the very same thing again. Flipping heck. You can almost smell the courage on this one. You sure can. Excuse me, sir. We'd like to ask you one favor. Favor? But I must set sail soon. At least I miss the fair winds and the bountiful hauls they bring. It'll only take a second. We want to borrow a little of your courage. My courage, certainly. It is not something I lack. Take as much as you wish. Thank you, Mr. Fisherman. Yep. We definitely are seeing an issue here where this mechanic is not evolving in any way. You come to a new city. Oh, you're finished already? That tingling sensation in my chest. That was my heart, perhaps. Like, you also have to wonder about the camera placement of some of this. Too. Like, somebody somewhere would have had to realize that the camera was going to end up looking at this character while you're talking to that character. There is potential that that entire conversation could have happened this way. Right, let's see what this guy needs. What is... Curses, what is this affliction I suffer? Are you okay? You don't look so good. I've always been a man of scene. Becoming a fisherman, it was my only ambition ever since I was a babe in arms. Indeed, I was recently able to finally acquire my very own vessel. Oh wow, that's great. Congratulations. I'm grateful for your kind words, but sigh. I suddenly find myself to be the most terribly afraid of the ocean I've always loved. I simply cannot bring myself to go fishing. That is what has become of me, I do not know. Fisherman who's suddenly scared to sea, Mr. Drippy. It sounds like he's broken-hearted, whatever. Ain't it? Lacking courage, yes, no doubt about it. You're gonna help him out, Ollie boy? I sure am. I mean, he's just got his own boat. Right. Then let's see if we can find some courage for our fisherman friend. And see, I was able to find the courage before I even found the person who needed courage. It's silly. It should be a lot harder, if not straight up impossible, to even look for the courage until you find the person who needs it. Oh, praises to be to the ancient. Courage swelling within my breast once more. Nito, so you're not scared of the sea anymore? Not in the slightest, indeed. I shall take to the waves forthwith. But first I must show my gratitude. Please accept by the way of this. Here we have the audio. Playing two different sound effects. Like, the fact that it plays two different sound effects and cuts out the audio really does show that nobody actually tested it. Oh, and I guess there's nothing more. Of course, the problem here is we know that this guy eventually turns into our third companion. because we've seen the trailer, and the trailer spoiled everything. You can see the ocean looks pretty boring. You have a lot of flat food being shown here too, which is a far cry away from what good-looking flat 2D Ghibli animated food would have looked like. In fact, it really sucks that that even is there. They might as well have not animated the food and just put lids on top of each of these instead. Of course, if you were playing this on the Switch, you probably wouldn't notice it being too bad, but you still probably would notice somewhat. Before moving the story forward, I think it probably is just going to be... What's that? Looks like it's some kind of bug. Interesting. Can't jump, though. Let's come in here and sleep and get the new spells or new things for the companion book. We can't open a chest while we're doing something else. And, well, we could come over here and probably feed this guy some milk chocolate. I don't know if we really have anything other that's like big time important. I'm about to hit the maximum growth limit on Mighty again. And so unless I can get the familiarity up to 3 hearts, which maybe it is actually stuck at just below 3 hearts because there is a limiter or gate system enacting on it to make sure it doesn't go any further. That is a possibility. Let's see. Yep. There might be something storyline related that says you can't bring up the familiarity to 3 until you hit that point because they want to tutorialize around that. Accuracy. Evasion. Getting familiarity up to 2 is not enough to make this metamorphosable. You just need to figure out which character cares about accuracy, which is this guy. I'm noticing also that I had some sweetie pies handed to me earlier, and I kind of wasted them. Okay, well that's as much as we can do there. We're at 2,000 gold. Spend 50. We might as well save. It'd be very easy to forget completely that you needed to visit each inn. suppose it's also worth pointing out that the humidity of a coastal city like this will drastically affect you more than you would think. So dressing or underdressing is fairly called for. But what we should keep an eye out for is we have Oliver here dressed kind of like a British wizard, like cape all over his shoulders, full shirt, long pants that are not quite long enough so you can see his ankles and that's it, shoes, necklace, brooch. So we're probably going to, in a kind of sexist way, or at least male gaze way, we're going to probably see Esther change outfits because we've seen that spoiled in the trailer. And then Oliver very possibly will not be given the opportunity to change his outfit at all in the game and keep the same look for advertising reasons. It is kind of weird also that we've gone from the middle of the desert. We went from the forest south to a desert, now to a coastal kind of rainforest like looking swampland. Also, oddly, we have our older character, which I also suspect he will be the one, if there is any character that tries to hit on Esther. But we see him immediately just straight up cursing without even using the phrase flipping like Drippy does. The good news is, though, Drippy has stopped saying so much, so we don't have to deal with him. But we now have to deal with this new guy immediately cussing. There's no escape. Give back what you stole. Well, I stole? What are you on about? What do you mean, what am I on about? That great big pot, of course. Pot? Oh, this thing? What's wrong with him, man? It's like he doesn't even remember stealing it.
What do I want with this piece of rubbish? If you want it, it's yours. I'm sure it will make you very happy. See ya!
What was that all about? Again, we're getting like one line of dialogue for each character, and then we're out of the voiced stuff. Like, there's no way that this was the original plan, to have one line of dialogue that didn't even really matter. So he probably wanted what was inside the pot and already stole it, or he's just desperately trying to escape. So I guess that means it will be a while before he ends up joining our group. What was that all about? Why would he steal something then just throw it away like that? Yes, why would he? What was he thinking? I don't reckon he was thinking at all, man. Oh, what do you mean? Well, he ain't bothered what he steals. It's just the stealing he's in it for, ain't it? You mean he enjoys stealing for its own sake? Yeah, that's about the size of it. I'm no expert, mind. Obviously, by the way, this third companion is going to be the soulmate of the kid. I think his name was Phil in Motorville. Which, at a certain level, I suppose Phil and Oliver were kind of stealing parts to build that car from their parents' garage. So we'll probably have to go to Motorville and, like, solve some problem with Phil before we can get him to join. And that might be the last time we ever go back to Motorville, unless the game is going to throw a twist in here and we end up being able to have more than 3 companions, or which I question. If you could have more than 3 companions, you may be able to swap out one companion for another, but it's not like Esther or Oliver play that big of a role in the fights anyways, that would be worth programming in. If that's really true, he's even more horrible than I thought. Well, never mind that for the minute. Let's get the old pot back to the peddler, shall we? He must be worried sick, poor old father. Well, he must be. Okay, let's take it back to him. And thought you'd just go in our inventory, but instead we're going to have Drippy carry it, like he carried the cat. And that was kind of funny when he was carrying the cat on his back. It's kind of funny now that Drippy's carrying it for him. Seems like the ship also opened up. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to do more than I would even imagine to be able to get on the ship and leave. I also wouldn't be surprised if it's actually very quick and we can just, after this, immediately get on the ship and leave. Excuse me, sir. I think this belongs to you. Indeed, you recovered it. Yes, we did. The thief got away, unfortunately, but we got the pot back for you. It'd be funny if this turns into the cooking pot, and that's what all the ingredients are for. Peddler says, curses. I mean, is that so? You have my thanks. Crikey. Don't go being too grateful, will you? It's not like it's flipping heavy or anything. Forgive me, it's just that. I was rather pleased to have finally rid myself of it, huh? The man you chased, he is a habitual thief. He does not care what he steals. So, as ever, I called after him, stop thief. But when I saw what he had taken, I gave thanks to the ancients. You gave thanks for being robbed? In this instance, yes. You see, this pot, no matter how I try, it will not open. Therefore, you cannot use it to store my wares. It is of no use to me, yes. You must take it, for apprehending the thief. Is it the least I can do. You giving it to us, just like that? Hang on a second, you just told it it's flipping useless, and now you're pretending to do us a favor by giving it to us? What's going on, man? Perhaps you were thinking of it as a souvenir of your visits to Castaway Cove, Jewel of the Seven Seas, ahem. A souvenir, a great big pot like this? Yes, a most wondrous souvenir. It is no ordinary pot after all. If the rumors are to be believed, it was once used by an ancient royal family. It has illustrious and regal history. Well, if that's true, we can't accept it. It's too valuable. But you must. I am so grateful. This is really going in circles to just say, actually take the pot. So very grateful for your help. Think nothing of it. Go now. Take it and go beyond. Okay. You said yes? What did you do that for, Mun? What do you mean, Mr. Drippy? Did I say something wrong? I mean, if he looked as if he was going to cry if I didn't take it. He seemed really worried. Indeed, I was worried. Worried that you would, think me ungrateful. Yes, that's what I'm worried about. Thank you so very much. Something funny is going on here. Come on, tell us. There's something wrong with this pot, isn't there? Wrong? Why, of course not. It's simply the lid will not open, and perhaps now and again, spine-shattering clattering emanates from within. But only once in a while. It is nothing. Ah, ha ha ha, ah. So the lid won't open, but strange sounds come from inside it. What could that mean? Oh, so that's it, is it? Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. You know why it won't open, Mr. Drippy? No, man, it'll open. You just need to know how, ain't it? It's a cauldron, see? Really? This is a cauldron? Wow. You know what that is? Yes, I've never seen one, but my father used to have one. All wizards have a cauldron, you see. They do? That they do, Ollie boy, and the reason it won't open is because it's sealed up tight with powerful magic. But all we need is a true wizard to say the magic words written and the wizard's companion, and Alakazam, the little pop off just like that. Well, huh? Oliver, you should try opening it. I should right now. Why not, Mon? There's no time like the present. Go on, give it a go. So there's definitely a better way to write this, and definitely they're trying to be silly about the peddler getting robbed for and not even wanting it back because he doesn't know it's a cauldron. Um, you could have eliminated 2 or 3 sentences there and said, "This is a magic cauldron. That I know it's a magic cauldron, and Shadar might make me brokenhearted just for owning it. I've been trying to get rid of it for years." And then at least you could bring back Shadar and the bad guy, because it's very easy to go multiple hours and not even remember that Shadar exists as a character. And it would give a much better motivation for the peddler to be afraid instead of just hearing spine-chilling sounds. Yeah, for as much work as we went around to get the wand, getting a cauldron handed to us is a little weird. Okay, so the magic words are in the wizard's companion, huh? Let me take a look. Am I supposed to actually... Do remember how to read the wizard's companion, don't you, Ollie boy? Sure I do, Mr. Dripley. I just open it up in the main building and start reading. Exactly. A budding wizard like you should be reading a bit of that book every day, truth be told. Anyway, get and find the magic words, will you? We haven't got all day. But the wizard's companion is kind of long. I mean, it might take me a while to find the right words. You don't have to read the whole thing. Do you? Use your noggin. The magic words for your alchemical cauldron will be in chapter on alchemy, ain't it? That makes sense. I guess I'll start looking there. So they're actively going to make you just read this part. And they're probably going to make me type in the magic words. Okay. Chapter 2, Alchemy. Bubble, boil, and blend alchemies. The wizard's friends. I doubt it's something crazy like it's written in the symbols on the side. Let's see. Alchemy will conjure up great swords, shields, and even other objects. So that's probably where we're going to get the weapons and stuff. Every cauldron has a genie. Magic words are open says -a-me, capital letters. Well, then we probably don't have to go any further on this. And these like flat 2D animations maybe were made by Ghibli also. And they're pretty certainly, but I don't know if this is gonna work for us very well. So the way this also feels like this is going to go is that you're going to take some basic weapons that you can get, and then you're going to throw in some other ingredients, and then you're going to create a second tier, really high quality weapon. Each of these weapons, or you can even get some maybe better foods. Each one of these has a cross-reference to a different page, but page numbers are not going to be that useful. We can see there's also some original formula here, which tells me that there's some secret. Let's see. Getting the kitchen knife, for instance, is only in Ding Dong Dell, apparently. So something like this that source is unknown, or some of these that are just treasure chests. What this really isn't telling you, though, is the amount of damage or anything that you could inflict. So, equipment being separated from alchemy, and then the source being in the alchemical cauldron. I don't think it quite works. And I definitely do kind of feel like there is a chance here that somewhere around 40% or more of all of this content will just never really be engaged with, as far as well, this is some flying mechanic thing that we'll apparently build at some point. See, such items include pistols that allow one to open locks from a distance, and harps that attack one's enemy when plucked. Should you be fortunate enough to come across such rare items, don't be afraid to use them in field and battle. Wizard has nothing to fear from material objects. So there are guns in the first version of the game too. Just really rare. Interesting. The texture there didn't really want to load in when we loaded out, zoomed out. Okay. O-P-E-N space. I'm hoping everything capital is acceptable, but last time we had to do this, it didn't make it easy on me, certainly. It would have made a lot more sense for there to have been, even if they gave me like 20 different options. Let's see. So all caps did work. What's the genie gonna look like, I wonder? Probably not very human, cutesy, animalistic, like a familiar.
You are very small, master. But it matters not. Your right to command me will be judged in battle. Huh? Where is it? Ah! Aha! Now, to arms!
So just out of nowhere, we're doing a fight. Alright, well, let's see. This guy moves kind of hard, kind of quick. Alright, let's see. Smash hit. I guess we want to do smash hit always. For 18 magic, that's a lot though. It is just really easy to take out these kinds of guys when you have multiple. I like because see, clearly this guy is supposed to be funny. Alright. Spell. Pulse. This guy moves incredibly slow. Yeah, it does just kind of feel like all weapons kind of do boil down to doing the same thing over and over again, like in such a way that they're kind of balanced. Let's see, provisions, either white bread, like, so unless I knew specifically that this guy was like weak to pulse versus frostbite versus fireball. Is this a defensive thing? Okay, well, let's now select Esther. Same gag being done twice. To pull out a different kind of weapon. Flipping heck. He was really going to try and poke you with that parasite. Now's your chance to give him one for Ollie Boy. Let's see. Songs. Let's go ahead and attack. Provisions. We gotta restore our magic. We could try and play with this. Go wild. Let's see if the go wild works. Alright. Provisions. We don't really have enough magic to do anything, though. If I tried to give like white bread to this guy, it wouldn't work. I think it probably is just smartest to do that. And then maybe we can throw this guy out. We can do something like this. It really is a case where And he's back down again. All kinds of magic that I can't actually pick up because I'm gonna die. The problem here is it took so long. So do we want to lose 10% of our gold, which is 195 guilders? No. So instead, we'll have to load from the save spot, which means we're going to have to type in the solution. We're going to have to just mash through everything. And we'll make a special save after that. Oh man, this set me back really far. This is just going to be a great example of just where this game can go off the rails. I skip this. From here we can save, so once we get to the point where we just have to type in the name, we'll make another save spot in case we die again. Skip this. Right. Overwrite to save. Let's see. Yep, this is definitely not fun. I have to type all of this in a second time. Right, skip this. And see, that's going to put you right into the fight. Right, and now we go spell. We'll see fire does 21. Frostbite does 19. And oddly has a different effect. Pulse is the one to do. So I'm just going to stay back. And I'm going to just cast Pulse multiple times. And this guy's going to pretty much be far enough away, as long as he doesn't kill Esther in the process. Or just start chasing after me for some reason. And if this is all I'm gonna do is just run away. And definitely I need to learn to defend. That is something I'm doing really bad job at doing. Chances are obviously random. If you're gonna try and get like some finisher moves here, let's see what happens here. Burning Heat as a 0 magic spell. We may literally only see this animation done once. 179 damage there. That is a lot. Provisions now. I might as well just take another iced coffee. Actually, I had a chance there. Like, if you're gonna get the pebbles though, you can't just run away from the people. Or you have to just hope that the other player can benefit from collecting the health in these pebbles. Alright. 8, 6. Defend. 3, 2, 1. Alright. Probably shouldn't have thrown out Mighty there. I hit the wrong button. But I am also low on magic. I think I can just win here. But yeah, that is a really great example of the game just kind of going off the rails, throwing you into a fight when you potentially wouldn't have been prepared for it, not really having you save or confirm that you were ready. And after a fairly difficult fight like that, everything levels up, and Esther has learned cheer. It may be a case that the characters themselves can't have more tricks than they can use, and so anything they learn is automatically applied to being in an unlimited number of slots. Why would he just attack us like that? Phew, are you alright, Oliver? Oh, your name is Oliver, Master. I'm sorry? Oh, most illustrious Master Oliver, your prowess in battle is unsurpassed. Again, we're back to the whole master thing. Which, yeah, if this was localized today or by a slightly better localization team, they almost certainly would try and replace that. You could replace Master with Great Wizard, for instance, or Mr. wouldn't make as much sense. I think Great Wizard probably would be the right phrase to use in this scenario. Graceful, fearsome, yet merciful. Truly, you are a master worthy of Alchemy, Genie of the Pot. Although master actually is probably the right phrase to use, because in any story you're going to see about genies, the genies always do call the people their owner's master, and they are effectively enslaved or trapped or controlled or owned by whoever owns the genie lamp. So it is almost, there definitely is an argument to be historically accurate with the fictional story that you would have told 15-20 years ago and still use the phrase master. It would be like making a movie where you couldn't use the word Nazi in World War II. If you were just calling every German soldier during World War II a soldier, that would feel very off-putting and inaccurate and wrong. So sometimes for historical context, they should just use the right word instead of trying to whitewash history, for lack of a better term. But since this is a kid's game, I would give more leniency to just getting rid of the phrase master. And frankly, if they did do that, generally speaking, if artists and creators did that, we could probably bring back more genies in stories. That there really aren't quite as many genies as you could have in stories. Genie. Now, what's funny is this in this world we have genies, and then you have a dark djinn, which djinn is just what genies are called. So they're making an argument then that the dark djinn may have been a genie like this at some point and then become a dark djinn. That's right, Ollie boy, every cauldron has a genie inside it. They'll do what is known as alchemy for you. Genies don't really do alchemy, they do magic. They are just throwing out a lot of buzzwords, basically. It would be funny if the dark djinn of this game actually was the genie of Alicia, the soulmate to his mother, and it became corrupted and betrayed her. But that would get rid of the whole father aspect, which I would heavily lean more to thinking that the dark djinn is really Oliver's father, or the soulmate to Oliver's father. But they have to test you first to see if you're worthy, ain't it? That's why the big red bruiser started on you. Nothing personal, like if you're after a cauldron, it's the only way. It's tradition, see? Yeah, tradition doesn't mean it's right. Gee, you could have warned me, Mr. Drippy. When I laid eyes on you, Master, your diminutive size worried me most prodigiously. Not a big word for a game that feels like it's trying to be kid-friendly. But you humbled me. You've reminded me that a book may never be judged by its cover, no matter how unimpressive it may be. I bow to you, Master, now and forevermore. Pleased to meet you, too. So we've obtained the cauldron. I guess it's a good thing that we obtained the cauldron. That would have been a nightmare if some non-wizard had managed to open it up. Master, I must pay you tribute. Please accept these humble gifts. Bottle of pixie dew. Bunch of sour grapes. 3 bundles of slobber knot leaves. You must combine these items with the power of alchemy. They will produce a most wondrous and magical result. And here's another one of those telling stone screens. Now, Master, it seems you are still in need of instruction concerning the use of the cauldron. There are 2 ways to alchemize. I'm not sure if alchemize is a word, but okay. When you possess the alchemical formula of an item you desire, simply select follow the formula and you shall have it in an instant. But should you not possess the formula, you may select mix and match to combine ingredients to your heart's content. I pray you will produce most wondrous and magical results, Master. For the first steps on the path of an alchemist, I recommend you follow a formula. Do not run before you can walk, Master. And for this, your first alchemical experiment, I present you with a formula. Behold. So we've obtained a new formula, although it seems like we had plenty of them anyways. Alright. So we have yet another screen here that takes us away from the main game. It would be much nicer if you could have simply summoned the cauldron to the overworld and not been on this screen, but it's probably more efficient to use this screen. Master, you must use the formula I gave you. So sprite do, yeah. Though not technically due, the sprightly byproduct is blessed with miraculous healing properties that restores 200 HP to all allies. That seems like we have everything we would need. Will this give us any XP or gold in doing this? I suspect not. It's a success, Master, truly a work of wonder. The cauldron is capable of many more such miracles. It can produce weapons, armor, medicines, and treasure of every kind. You must take your wizard's companion in hand and try all the alchemical arts you have to offer. I will, Mr. Genie, sir. Thank you very much. Look forward to most humbly to serving you, Master. Ha ha ha. There's useful, eh, Ollie boy? Now we just need to bag ourselves a boat and all will be tidy. Let's go, Mr. Drippy. Now, storyline wise, it might be more fun just straight up it might be more fun to straight up have the guy steal the item yet again. So each of these are labeled as ingredients, so they play some role. Well, we can't buy everything. And I kind of feel like the best move is probably not to buy ingredients or any of this. Yeah. Increase attack when HP is full. Visually auto blocks enemies' attacks. Alright, I like that. Let's equip that onto this. And then let's get at least one of these. And equip it to this. Freeze cloak would work on the other two characters too, so there's an argument to doing that, but let's not do it yet. Let's get this and equip that. Rock feather. Do more damage. What can we buy? It would be the most effective thing. It's probably to buy this and equip it there. Then I don't think we can afford anything else anyways. We could buy more food. Interestingly, though, we don't have any food upgrades. So it may all very well be in the element of like it may very well be a case where you are going to have to upgrade food using the cauldron. So he is a shopkeeper. So now we know what this is. Right. So all formulas. We have nothing here. Okay. So what I want to do is mix and match, say this and let's see. See what two flawns does. Combination does not work. Did that take those items? Okay. It's not taking the items. So 3 didn't do anything. 4 is not doing anything. It may be that there is just not a thing here. Okay. Let's come back out here then. Alchemy. I should be able to read these, and then all of these formulas should become formulas in the group. Otherwise, this whole system is going to fall apart very quickly and turn into a nightmare where I would have to find a specific formula that I would think I might have the right items for, and then try and craft it once. And then if I craft it once, maybe then the formula would get added to the cauldron. Do you have a giant's tooth and a bane flower? So we could probably do that if that's what it comes down to. But I feel like what the game was trying to teach us, and probably did a pretty bad job of doing and saying, is that reading this book is a way to get most of these formulas. There really aren't even that many that aren't being shown. Like one flan was 2 dumpty eggs and 1 jar of bumbler honey. Honestly, doesn't make that feel like a creamy flan is worth it. Yeah. I was hoping you could just take a bunch of flans and upgrade them into the next type of flan. But it may be even more messed up than that, because like a sweetie pie, which we've been getting those, is 1 pie and then 3 crunchy carrots. Yeah, I just don't feel like playing on easy you're going to end up having this much as far as extra ingredients. And if we do end up having this much as far as extra ingredients, then that creates a different scenario where your ingredient sources could tell you where to get those items. Okay. Do we have as an ingredient? Because I think you're going to have an ingredient. Bane's root. Yes. 1 bane flower. 1 beast fang. Or was it a giant's tooth? Come over here. Remove this. Come over here. One giant's tooth. One bane flower. Mix. Success, you've made a poisoned fang. Okay. So, poison fang occasionally poisons the enemy. Which let's see if we can. That 2 did not give us the right thing. So who else has room? Let's see. 3 defense versus 2 defense. 3 magic defense, no resistance to fire. So I think this would be good to actually do it, because look how the fire is going from an X to a check mark. So anything that has an X here, which obviously is a weakness to water, if I could craft something. Let's see. So this does just seem like this is going to be a nightmare scenario. You know what? Let's not even do that. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and equip this and make sure everything has something equipped. Yeah, that doesn't feel like this is a great system. Where we have Formula 6, and we're going to have to start finding formulas through some other way. Almost certainly. We definitely aren't moving the game forward very quickly. And we spent all of our money. So I assume the game, like it gives us magic spells, is just going to eventually start giving us formulas. Oliver goes, this is, even Oliver notices as a prepubescent boy, who's not very observative. Like, he is in a completely different world. You'd think he would be in awe of everything around him, and you don't get that sense of wonder and awe as much as you would probably get it in a real Ghibli movie. Everybody here is wearing a swimsuit, huh? Yes, no wonder they call it the seaside paradise of the South. Look, they are not dressed correctly. This would be funny if it is just the law. That's so very disrespectful. What? Huh? Knickers, it's like Ding Dong Dell all over. Flipping again. Jeepers. Come on. What is this disturbance? Ah, Governor, the very person we need. What do we have here? You're visitors to our town, I take it. You must know that all who enter this place are required by law to wear the appropriate attire. I speak, of course, of the bathing suit. So yeah, this is definitely either you could say Japanese lecherous comedy or Japanese lecherous artist bending over backwards to give an excuse to change clothing. And I certainly don't hate changes of clothing and fashion in general in video games. In fact, there should be a lot more of that. So often you have a character that goes through multiple months, it feels like, wearing the exact same outfit. Speaking of time, there is something certainly to be thought about, too. Where is Oliver's mother's body at this point? Because she died, and then you were either in someone else's house several days later when you first met Drippy, and now you've been running around, and at least a few days have passed since then. So it would be very weird for Oliver's mom to just be her dead body to be in the bed in her house. But I think that's very possibly where she is. Weeks later, just kind of rotting. It would make a lot more sense that she would have been buried, but if she's buried, then we succeed in bringing her back to life. She's going to have to crawl out of a grave like a zombie, and that would be pretty gross to show for this type of game. Anyways, back to us. But we ain't planning on moving here, is it? We're just passing through, like. Nonetheless, the law must be obeyed. The dark days of the past cannot be revisited. We once had great trouble here. I'm sorry to hear that. You never think of it to look at the place now. It's so peaceful. I suspect the idea here is that they're going to say they made a law that requires you to be in a bathing suit, so you can't carry weapons on you. Of course, the idea that there's a law requiring a bathing suit gets a little weird, certainly, because you have the old lady in the back, and seems to be fairly covered up and not really wearing a bathing suit. They all do seem to have like flip-flop shoes. Having a requirement for flip-flop shoes would mean people couldn't really run away from the police as easily. They'd trip and fall over. And certainly being in bathing suits makes it a lot harder to have weapons or illegal items on you. Of course, that is also very much the mentality of some of the laws in the Japanese history, where people are not allowed to carry swords anymore, and so that they could have less sword fights and murders occurring. And in that case, everybody carrying around a sword was kind of crazy. And in the Western history of the old cowboy times, everybody carrying around a gun was certainly dangerous also. Even the requirement to have like a turban on your head in India is based on a law, so that they can use the cloth of the turban to tie you up in like handcuffs. Like, anyways, continuing. This is gonna be a dumb story, I already know, so I'm not super interested in it. There's a time of great sadness. Travelers from all over our world would sail to Castaway Cove. Travelers who did not always see eye to eye. The men of the sea are hardy but quick-tempered. Without constant supervision, they would soon fall upon one another in anger. And for this reason, I devised a means of maintaining the peace. I'm sure you've guessed already what it was. Yes, to require all in the town to wear bathing suits, of course. And see, I feel like if this is voiced, the voice actor would have definitely should have and would have voiced the governor as being a very lecherous, sleazy type character, and that this was he would claim the laws to maintain the peace, but in reality he just wants everybody to be in bathing suits. I wouldn't be surprised if in Japanese this would have been a very different story, where he just sings the praises of the beauty of people in bathing suits and how wonderful bathing suits are, and it really is just a straight up obsession with bathing suits in particular, more than a desire to keep a peace. Uh, yeah. Uh, what is he, flipping crackers or something? What difference would that make? Even the game is admitting it. Great difference indeed, Fairy, for in a bathing suit one cannot conceal a weapon. Ho ho ho. No matter where their homeland may be, all who come here must dress in the same manner. Be they from Al Mamoon, from Ding Dong Dell, or from the furthest flung islands of the north. When they don the bathing suit, they become citizens of Castaway Cove. Wow, that's interesting. I feel like that's been translated very liberally, but it's such a strange idea. How did you convince everyone to agree? Oh, at first, of course, I met with ridicule from all sides. None would support my scheme. But I did not waver. I remained true to my vision. I put away my own resentment and my frustration. Honestly, this probably would have been a better, more believable scenario if he straight up said everybody in this city is a naturalist and there is a clothing optional rule where you must be at least this undressed because because we're all naturalists slash nudists. That would make more sense. That just like everybody that comes to the city wants to be showing off at least a decent amount of skin. And why was I able to show such restraint? Because I had a dream of peace in the place of my birth. Gee, I thought they were dressed like that because it was so hot. Hee, me too. Oh, you're not the first to think so, but this only proves how peaceful our town has become. Such a misunderstanding is a happy one. I understand now. We should respect the governor's wish and dress like everybody else. Let's do it. I want to become a citizen of Castaway Cove. So Esther, in her outfit, was already showing belly. We know from the trailer that she's going to be showing a lot more leg, too. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Oliver's outfit. And then Drippy. Is Drippy dressed? I think he technically is, but I bet they don't even really change his outfit that much. Alright then, if we flipping must. But I ain't got a swimsuit, have you? Oh, worry not, little one. We have a great wealth of bathing suits prepared for visitors just such as yourselves. Come, you will follow me to my home. Seems weird that you wouldn't put up a guard at your gateway if this was the law. To say you can't get in at all.
Check me out, Dolly boy. I look the business in this little number. Huh?
So they do
that's
change his
marvelous.
outfit. And they changed her outfit.
What do you think?
Yeah. And see, they did that whole animation there just to put in the trailer to show her off. Alright, so Oliver is in fairly long swim shorts that are going below his knees. Neither one of them, Esther or Oliver, are wearing shoes. Drippy has a different outfit. And Oliver is still wearing the pendant, but he's lost the cape and the shirt and all of that. What's funny is that I think fairly quickly we are going to end up leaving this outfit and going back to Oliver's default outfit, but maybe I'm just jaded. Maybe we will spend the next 4 or 5 hours wearing swimsuits and being on the boats. Esther's outfit, I think, is probably fairly permanent with the gold bracelets, the blue top, purple skirt. They did a little spin around in the animation, so you could see that she was wearing a blue bottom part. It's fairly modest as an outfit for a kid's game, where certainly it could go. You could have lost the skirt and it could have just been a two-piece bikini. Now, arguably, most parents would not let a 10 or 11-year-old, which is about as much as I would assume Esther is. Most Western parents wouldn't let a 10 or 11-year-old wear a two-piece swimsuit. But Japanese parents probably wouldn't care one way or the other. Japanese kids in particular, it's worth noting, since this is a Japanese RPG and the culture there, like by default almost every Japanese school, to my understanding, has swim classes, and so there are one piece like school issued or special school swimsuits that every Japanese girl would have. And then if they were going to go to a beach or something like that that wasn't a school event, they might, as they get older, buy a two-piece and show that off to be more individuals. But yeah, this is really an odd bending over backwards to change the outfits, specifically in the swimsuits. And really it's an odd kind of just bait and switch. And I usually don't have to use bait and switch as a phrase for games, but in this case that's very much what's happening here, is that they made an entire animation and intro and contrived an entire scenario to just have Esther be shown off in a swimsuit. Which they might as well have just started at that if that's what they were going to do. With her first outfit, it's a waste of animation to make different outfits. Sorry I'm late. We may be boys, but we ain't entirely ignorant of the more involved nature of feminine dress, Ollie boy? I guess. Anyway, we're all citizens of Castaway Cove now. Let's go take a look around. Thank you very much, Mr. Governor, sir. Oh, ho, ho. Bathing suits are yours now. You must wear them whenever you visit us. So whenever we go into this city, we probably will just change outfits back to the swimsuits. The whole logic here falls apart, though. If you really were going to make a law that said everybody must be in bathing suits, that way they can't have a weapon on them, what scenarios are you imagining that are realistic and worth that limitation on choice, in which you have to apply it to kids? Like, it would make a lot more sense to say every 14-year-old or every 20-year-old and older must be in a swimsuit. That way they can't carry a weapon. Why do you think 10-year-olds by default would be carrying weapons? Now, in all fairness, I guess in this world, Oliver is carrying a wand, which is effectively a weapon. But it also, I think, highlights the problem with this logic again, in that both Oliver and Esther at any point probably could summon a familiar from within their own soul and have that familiar attack anybody they wanted if they were bad people. So that they're walking weapons. Now, at least I can say to you, welcome to Castaway Cove. Thank you. Now, at last we can go and look for a flipping boat. Talk about faff, man. Yep, you've attained the bathing suit. Suppose, like, Esther could have been a much higher hip. The cut of her bottom part of her bathing suit could be much more higher hipped. That they are, by default, it's a more like a pair of hot pants in swimsuit form, where it could have been much more V-shaped. But once again, you look and a weapon could easily be hidden under the skirt of this lady. A knife could easily be bent into the scarf around her stomach. You could have a weapon on a necklace. You could have a weapon in your hair under the helmet. It's not really a good argument for requiring things. Here's the ghost now. Or like these guys are wearing scarves. It would be very easy to hide a knife under that and stab them. It's fairly easy to hide a knife into a shoe or around a bandage. There's bandages around the ankles of all these characters. Like, it would make more sense to just have the mayor say he loves swimsuits and he requires everyone to wear swimsuits. It's easy to hide the weapon under the skirt there. It's not crazy to even hide a weapon under like a top bra. You can certainly hide a garrote. I think it's the weirdest, certainly with this little girl in the tube top here. She's probably about 5 years old. Like, so they get out of diapers and then they are immediately required to wear swimsuits. Or maybe they don't wear diapers at all. It's just all swimsuits all the time. Oh, that big pot you have. It is a cauldron, is it not? Yeah, that's right. So you must be a wizard. Crikey, it sounds like this little girl knows a thing or two about wizardry, Ollie boy. I do. I read wizard book every day. I know all about wizards and spells they cast. But the spells, they're not the favorite thing about the wizards. It's the alchemy I love the most. I read that wizards can make almost anything by mixing materials in a cauldron. Is that true? It sure is. It's actually pretty easy if you know the right ingredients. Easy for one such as you, I think. Being a wizard must be very wonderful. Would you show me how alchemy works? Could you make me a candle cutter, perhaps? I've heard that candle cutters can only be made using alchemical methods. I would dearly love to see one for myself. Alright. Wonderful. I do not think I've ever been this excited. Now, to make a candle cutter, you will need a flint dagger and a ember stone. Flipping heck, you don't know your stuff. It's all in my book. Alright, I shall wait for you here. Please hurry, I'm very excited. Alright, so that's a quest. And over here is the other quest that we had already started. Can't jump over there. Okay. This puts us in a weird position where I think the right move is probably to kind of grind out and go back this direction. Like, I think this is the right direction to go, but maybe not. Maybe we should just move the story forward. You can see our characters went back to their same outfits. Let's see. Active quests. Let's see, the young alchemist. Florets using frostbite. Gather rainbow leaves. And then this is a quest that's on the ocean. This is on a quest on the ocean. This is a quest that's on the ocean. So yeah, it kind of doesn't feel like it is worth it to go back through this whole area. And it doesn't feel like it's really worth it to try and do a whole bunch of alchemy. Unless we started to collect a lot of extra things. Right. We can waste time and move things around. So we now know Oliver's default clothing he started with, then Traveler's clothes, then Esther's clothes, and the fairy suit, which is what he was wearing before. Now we have this bathing suit for each of them. And then we are increasingly getting further and further away from getting spirits. We still have yet to find anything to do with all these tickets. The weirdest part is the fact that this alchemy part hasn't given me a whole bunch of formulas. That definitely feels weird. Feels like the read from the beginning has changed. You can also see that there is a considerably high amount of pages still to unlock. As far as life lessons, we've got 16 now, but we're still missing 9. Seems like each one of these life lessons will start to be revealed a lot slower. Our compendium of monsters is getting bigger. Our habitats seem to be getting slightly bigger. Number of dangerous places has not increased. Our general progress report is 29% of the wizard's compendium, so we're about a third of the way through the game, and it seems like it's getting slower. 16% of the creature compendium being complete, 18% of the tasks being complete, and 1% of alchemy being complete. So we now have only 2 more systems apparently that we're going to learn, but we kind of know that they're not going to be around this. So, and whenever we come into this area, we will just immediately put on the bathing suits. Is this the same boy that was running around in Alma Moon? Nope, it's a different boy running around. There's a lot of repeated textures, certainly. There is definitely a chance here that if you tried to run just straight through the story on easy mode, you could have a slightly better experience. But countering that chance, almost exactly, is the chance that just overwrite that one. Yeah, almost 100% countering that chance is a chance that running straight through the story would just have had you fail miserably in fighting the genie or any of the other boss characters. It is very much a major difficulty spike whenever there is a story related character that you have to defeat, a boss, and then a difficulty pit or valley when you're just generally fighting creatures in the overworld. And the overworld, I think, quickly is going to turn into just all of the ocean around the entire map. There will probably be invisible walls stopping us from going too far into the deep ocean, but that there, I assume, will be just a bunch of sea monsters and random battles when we get the ship going. And I assume it's not going to be as easy as just talking to this captain. Alright, well, it's been another 2 hours, which these episodes are just getting longer and longer. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.